Welcome to the She Cultivates podcast. My name is Elizabeth Savillon, and welcome to a new season of this podcast. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this podcast, leave a review. I would appreciate and love hearing your feedback. We have been on a break for 8 months, and this is the longest break I've ever taken. And let's just say that you should grab your coffee, get your matcha because we are going to catch up. There are a few exciting things like I'm engaged, my relationship, business changes, life changes, health, and all the exciting things that this year has to bring. If you are ready for this conversation, buckle up because we are going to go through how it's been like the last few months. And I really missed you guys. Just know that I love doing podcasting. I've been doing it for over 5 years now. And this is just a way and a space that I can share the things that I love about cultivating your best self, cultivating healthy relationships, friendships, conversations about your mental health, business, the realities, and the behind the scenes that you don't see on social media. Because I know, again, on social media, it's just, you share, especially on Instagram, it's kind of like you share those highlights, but this is a place where we can just have a real talk and talk about the things that are really happening. So this looks a little bit different now. As you guys know, I started from home editing my podcast, just audio only. Then I went into the studio at High Hello Labs, and now this year I will be doing it from home. And so I'm here figuring out how the logistics works, but at the end of the day, still having the same message to have these conversations. I kind of hesitated for some time to see okay, what is it going to look like? Is the podcast going to evolve or change, or is it a no? Because let's rewind, after my 5-year party, so that was June, July, I took a break, and I thought it was going to be maybe 2 months, and that is not what happened. During that time, I was already maybe 6 months into the relationship. We started dating in February of last year, official by April, and then by the time July comes, my boyfriend's mom tragically passes away, and that was very devastating, very difficult. That was something that just was very sudden and it was not expected. And I feel like that changed everything. I've never been through a grief so close with someone like that I love. And that was something that we were early on in the relationship, and we had literally just seen his mom the day before. And so nobody was expecting it. And being a part of this family, right, that I'm getting to know them and so excited, it just, everything changed. And that was literally right before my Pour Into Her event with Stemma. And that was a first collaboration event. And I feel like I was an automatic when everything happened. And so I was I need to go to the event. And, I'll come back. And, I just felt like it was this is so surreal. This is not happening. Going through the loss of someone that you love, like your mom, that just was devastating. There's no words. And so really the next few months and still till today, that is something that we're navigating through as a family, as a couple. And, it has its bittersweet moments because it's not what we would have imagined. We definitely know that, that's my boyfriend's, now my fiance. That's my fiance, my boyfriend at the time's, personal journey. But that was something that I feel then pushed even my podcast. I was just there, present, navigating my own grief, navigating through something that how I was feeling, and, just the sadness, and just, it was just something that I'm still processing till this day, if I'm completely honest. And because of that, I feel even certain shifts in my business were happening. And then by the time, September comes, it's my birthday, I'm turning 30, and I'm just feeling a sense of grief and sadness. and overwhelm with everything. And it was just like not how I expected, I guess, to feel at that point. But it was like real life just like hit. And so I feel like the fall time, it was such a bittersweet because like as like my relationship, right, we're like close, we're getting closer, we're getting to know each other. We're also going through one of the hardest times of, my partner's life, and something that I like miss his mom, and just dealing with all those feelings, and then still navigating my business and like, okay, should I just pivot in this direction? So I kind of went into just a spiral, if I'm honest. And it was hard to get out of. And that's why I like debated about the podcast, about like even my events. I was like, should I even be doing this? Like, should I pivot into another direction? Like, I just feel like I can't get out of the funk. But it was like all the emotional stuff and then the physical stuff, and everything was just like happening. And it was just a reality check of like, I feel like entrepreneurship was like, do you really want to do this? Because it is not as glamorous as, it appears to be, by having the flexibility and like, oh, the freedom, but it's like, you still got to show up no matter what. And so during that time, like I just had a lot of like questions and doubt, and I just kind of wanted to like be MIA. Like I feel like I even like retreated because I was like, how do I navigate all of this, while also like, not wanting to publicly share things that are like private. So that was really like towards the middle end. And so it was also navigating the grief of certain passion projects that I wanted to do. Like, you guys know, I've been talking about like publishing a journal for like the longest time. And so last year, I also had to push that deadline. And I was like, you know what? We're going to push that. It's not that it's not going to happen, but it's not going to happen now. And navigating through the grief of things, or yeah, just goals that you had for yourself or you set for yourself that you have to kind of let go, is hard because you thought like, okay, by this time, I will have this. And it's like you're grieving those things because you put these expectations or these goals on yourself. And it's like being willing to adjust. And so I was like, okay, like it's just not the time, but it's not that it's not going to happen. And so I know it will happen. And when I turned 30, it was like, okay, I just feel like the last time I was on this podcast, which was the last recording that I did, I think it was in June. And so from then till now, I feel like so much personal growth and lessons that I've learned about just, yeah, just like what really matters, and like what is the importance, like what does my success really look like for me, in this season, and what are the areas that I can like be proud of myself for accomplishing. Because when I turned 30, I had like this list of like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I have these goals that like by 30. And when I was getting closer to 30, I was looking at those small goals like, trying pickleball for the first time, or, learning to cook, which your girl learned how to cook. And so I even invited people over. So we have learned a few things, but those small goals, right? Like, okay, like reading a book a month, I was accomplishing those things, getting more involved in a church, finding a church. I was like, okay, great. But then it got to like the other ones, about hitting this milestone in my business, and, publishing my journal by this time. And then I started feeling like the discouragement, like if I like failed at something, and I'm like, why do I always do that? That I make it seem like it's a failure when it's like, no, I'm still trying. Like I'm still attempting I haven't given up yet, like I haven't thrown in the towel. Like I'm still pursuing my dreams, but I've also accomplished so much, and even emotionally, like who I was 5 years ago, in my relationship, like being in my first healthy relationship in my 30s, like that's crazy. But it's like, that is a huge accomplishment, being able to feel comfortable with myself, to feel confident, in showing up, in, hosting events, seeing the impact that those events are making to people, being, yeah, just like feeling whole within myself, having a great community around me, my family, which means so much to me. And those are all wins, but we, again, think like, and this is me, I think about those big goals by 30. And I'm like, wait, okay. Like my 20s was like the building, right? And like we went through it. We went through it, girl. So it's like my 30s, I know that they're going to be better. Like I know that it's going to look different and it's going to be great. Like why can't I, like it's like why can't I see it that way? And so after 30, like after I turned 30 in September, it was kind of like, you know, no, it, I did do a lot in my 20s, and like I'm glad, and my perspective shifted because there are so many wins despite those other things. So some exciting things that I've transitioned into business is helping community builders or brands, businesses that want to host in-person events, because I don't know about you, but there's so many in-person events and communities that are doing amazing work to connect women, and I love it. And I was like, okay, I get these questions a lot of how to do this and like how to host intentional events, not just another event. And so I'm like, okay, how can I like, just make something for like those women that want to do that? And so I launched a guide. So it's like a community event driven guide. And so that breaks down from like A to Z how to host those events, like, how to set yourself apart, like find out your mission and vision, set a run of show, like, so, like, okay, what's happening, having clear direction and messaging, what emails to send, how to pitch yourself, for brands and collaborations and build those relationships, how to host, because it is a practice, like hosting and like engaging people. And so if you are interested in that, just a little plug, in our show notes below, we will be sharing the link where you can get the guide. I also created a free 10-step guide that if you are interested in that. And there's even one-on-one. So if you are someone that already has a community and you're like, I just need a little direction, you can get more information on that. But that is something I'm stepping into this year. And so I'm very excited because, I just want to be able to help and create more spaces for women, and not having to go through all of the guesswork I did in the beginning. So going into that is something that's different, doing digital products, having things online, and providing value, right, to our community. And so aside from that, also I feel like the writing, the speaking, that is something that I want to like focus more on, like speaking more and sharing more about, lessons that I've learned, things and just topics, right? Like even the business talk. Like I was talking to one of my business friends the other day, and she's like, yeah, like we all are going through it, and it's just, that's the reality. And it's like, we push through it, but it's like, it is a challenge. So having a space where we can talk to women about those challenges is so important. And so aside from having my community and just the growth, I was like, okay, I'm going to step out this year. And right when try to step out this year, like in December to January, I literally got the flu, got sick, I got the shingles, and I still, like, it's been a month and a half now, and I still am like recovering from it because it's like they're not active, but once you have the chicken pox, you have something inside of you that can be triggered. And so that was how my year started. And then January was rough. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to let this stop me. And so we had our vision board party for She Cultivates, and that was great. Just seeing people with their goals and dreams and alignment. And in February, I decided to take a break from doing events. And then we have one in March. But I was like, okay, after January, that we went through it. So now in February, I hope it is a better month. And let me just say, it has definitely been such a great month. Like, I got proposed to on February 13th, and I have been dating my boyfriend for 10 months. And that is crazy that in such a short amount of time, we have created such as like just a stable relationship when it comes to just getting to know each other, communication, like just a deepened understanding of each other and what the other person needs. And just, I think because we met in our late 20s, early 30s, then we were just kind of ready for that, and just like, okay, we've done the work, we worked on ourselves, we are ready now. And so that has been like the best part, I would say, of the past year is like our relationship, to be honest, because even on through the shifts within business and friendships and discouragements and all of that, like he really has brought so much joy into my life. And like the timing of it was like great, and even for him, like, with when we met and just like how we built this like strong foundation by the time when his mom like passed, and when that happened, which we were not expecting, um, I feel like it brought us closer, and we were able to just really lean on each other, and God. And so my relationship is honestly a blessing, and it's been a lot of work behind the scenes, as you guys know, because I have shared that on this podcast that I was single for like 4 or 5 years before we met. And I feel like it just, things aligned. And so, but I have had to work through a lot of my anxieties, a lot of my fears, a lot of my overthinking, a lot of my control, because it's just scary, right? Like putting yourself out there, putting your heart on the line, risking things, and just being like, all right, is this for sure? Like my trust issues, like I need to work on that. And it has been a growing curve, like a learning curve, and a growing within myself. And I feel like I needed that because I really thought that just because I did the work before, I was going to be fine. But it's like, no, until you're in the relationship, that is the practice of the work and the things that you have learned, so like how you react, how you assume the best versus the worst, how you don't retreat or run away or like, want to like disappear, so it's like all that stuff and how you react does matter. And I still have my counseling sessions like every month. I'm like, okay, a little update on this. Okay, I know I need to calm down here, and he's been just very understanding, and we've worked through it. But I'm just excited for you guys to meet him. This is like a whole nother era of my life and season. Like I'm literally in my bridal era. And so this year, the goal is to get married and yeah, to just be a wife. And so I'm just really thankful to God because like if anything, it's like, I hope it encourages you to know that like God does redeem our story, and it's like every season that you go through is never wasted. Even the moments that I remember telling myself, like, will this ever happen for me? Like, will this ever be my story? And I feel emotional even the day of. I was just like in awe of like, just like, wow, these are things that happened that are way better than I could have imagined. And I'm so thankful to God and like my community and like just the time that I took to work on myself. And it's not to say that I'm perfect. I am still learning. I do not have the perfect relationship, but it's great for me, and I'm genuinely just so thankful, and so yes, he'll be on the podcast very soon. And so next week I'll be sharing a little bit more about like my process and journey, because a lot of girls were like, okay, how did you even feel comfortable and confident? Like, how did you feel secure in the relationship? Like all of that. And so I'll talk about that next week. And then I will have him on the podcast to share about our relationship, how we met, our story, and then proposal story, because I was not expecting this. Like I knew it was going to be sometime this spring. Um, but yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. And yeah, so we have a lot of exciting things happening, within the She Cultivates community and the podcast. We also have our Patreon community that if you want to just get more, guides, journal prompts, just have these more conversations in our community, we'll have valuable info. So you can check it out in the show notes below. And we're just excited for what this year's is to bring. I know we have an event in March for all the Orlando girlies. Make sure to check it out because we have just released our early bird tickets. And so if you are local, I would love to see you there because it is going to be a connection, intentional event for women. And as we are in a new year, I'm just excited to continue to grow my business personally, in my relationship with God, and my community. And so as we are wrapping up this episode, in our January event, we had a speaker that she spoke about like making your younger self proud, but also thinking about your future self. So it's like you already are living today past prayers that you used to have, and like things that you wanted for your younger self. Like you are making her proud, but also thinking about who your 56-year-old self would look at and be like, I'm proud of you for doing what you're doing today and like taking charge and, doing something today that's going to affect your future. And so I'm rooting for you. I'm excited for what this year has to bring for you. And if you have any topic recommendations or what you would like to hear from me, make sure to comment down below in the video on YouTube, or if not on social media, tag me at Elizabeth Sabby. And I hope you know that I'm rooting for you. I'm excited to be back, and I will see you guys next Tuesday.